Alright, so in this video we're gonna just skim through Lars Alexanderson. This character's been giving me hell for the entirety of season 2, so I feel like this video was definitely due. And I feel like a lot of people have an issue with this character as well, and rightfully so. So I'm just gonna speed through some options that I've recorded here just quickly, and then I'm gonna get into some more in-depth stuff afterwards. So yeah, let's go. So obviously here, while standing 2-1, not a counter hit launcher no more like it was in 7. So I feel like in this scenario, you can probably find a button that works for you. If you ever decide that you want to mash. Obviously it has a follow-up, which is the high kick, which you can obviously duck. So just recognizing this move and recognizing that while standing 2-1 isn't really the end of the world. On top of that, it's only +2, so like, it's not really all that, really, in my opinion. But of course, Lars has some other options from while standing 2. Obviously, you can transition into stance. So if you kind of just like wait, if you just wait around for the high all day, then you lose the opportunity to get any reward. So obviously, Lars' stance transitions, I don't know why that realigned like that, but okay, so if he's off axis, he can realign. Let's try the other way. Yeah, so you're never really going to reliably deal with this situation perfectly. So, I mean, in some instances, you can go for a power crush if your power crush is fast enough. You can go for a heat burst if you don't want to worry about the low. I'm just going to record the low now just to check so that I'm not spreading misinformation. So yeah, if they, while standing 2 here and you heat burst immediately, you're not going to have to deal with the low. But if you go for your power crush and it's too slow, you're going to get counter hit launched. So this is the risk reward you have to weigh up. And obviously you have to be careful. So on to the next one, we got while standing 2 into this option. So again, power crush is an option. Can't walk left, but you can go right. You can jab float, but if they delay it, you can't. So that's something to keep in mind. So it's a lot of like mini guesses. It's not really that fun to deal with. Heat burst, obviously a no-brainer. You're gonna launch this if they do tend to go for this, but I feel like they only really do this if it's like in a clutch situation where they're trying to close out a round and they're trying to catch you sleeping. So like they want to try and catch you, like, let's say using a jab or something. So they might do something like delay and then go for this, and then you're just gonna get scammed by a safe move. So this is the read that they're trying to make in a clutch situation. So obviously you can mid check, but like I said, there's the while standing 2-1, there's the while standing 2-4, or while standing 2-3, and then there's obviously the 1. But like you can mid check all of this with no fear. Like your down forward 1 is never really gonna get bodied here, so you don't really have to worry about that either. But yeah, there's a few options that you have. But yeah, like I said, I just want to get through these quickly. So alright, so this one, let me turn off heat for a sec. Right. Yeah, so this one, yeah, a lot less counterplay here because Lars is +5 rather than -5. So, I mean, your options here, again, you can power crush, but if you power crush here, you're even going to lose to the low. So you can't even heat burst here, which is a bit toxic, to be honest. But that's why this is so good for Lars, because you really do have to guess in this scenario. But if you let them just like take the piss with their frames and stuff like that, you're going to be in a situation that you just don't like dealing with. So yeah, you can't jab here. Like, this is a frame trap. Like, there's nothing you can really do besides power cross. So you guess, and then he's 0, and he puts you in crouch. So if you go for like your fastest while standing option besides down jab, you're gonna get G cleft after this. So after you block this, you have to be careful about what you do. So what I would say is like, play around the fact that he can G clef, but like make sure that he does go for a G clef, so that you kind of have that information on them. So what they like to do, they either do back 1, which is I-15 mid, counter hit button, and especially if your back's to the wall, they're just going to do it because it's a no-brainer. Because they're expecting you to maybe try and sidestep or something like that. So yeah, back one is like that's like their mid-ground option. Like it's not super, rewarding, but it's like a really good check for them in that scenario, you know. Because if let's say I get greedy and try to go for a full crouch low, I'm gonna get counter hit by the back one. So there will be instances where you can mash. Like I said, while standing 4, while standing 3, I think those two options are, you know, kind of perfect in this scenario. Because what you don't want to happen is you don't want Lars to just go, you know what, forget this, I'm doing down forward 1-4. And then you get wall splat because you've done something too slow. So yeah, you have to be careful for sure. So yeah, he has good options after that. That move is like really, really good. Alright, so this is another option that he has from while standing 2. So obviously, if you just dash in and like try and press a button, you're going to get clapped. Like there's just no two ways around it. Like if you want to call this out, you have to make the read that this is what they're going to do. And even if you do that, it's going to be difficult. So you need a fast option to combat this. So obviously Leo has forward 1+2. Lars cannot block here, so you don't have to worry about them blocking and launching you. And then let's say you go for like a dash up high cross move, you know, that's an option as well. But don't get me wrong, this is not the only thing Lars can do from this. But like I said, you're calling out the fact that they're going to press buttons after this. So yeah, a full screen mid like this is like, you know, you need that. You need that. But if you want to really call it out, because what they like to do just as a check in this scenario is they'll do this. Sorry. They'll do this and then they'll just do the 1. So, and this is pretty common with Lars players. So if you really want to call this out, you can do something like that just to, you know, as a sharp read. Because you're not going to run into anything because you're doing it and a timing that beats the 1. But not only does it beat the 1, you want to beat the 1-2 as well. So this is what you want to have down. You want to be able to not only whiff punish the 1, but you want to fit in the while standing 2 between the 1-2 as well. Which is easier said than done, but it's definitely doable, as you can see. So yeah, this will have Lars players, you know, rethinking their while standing 2 mind games. And they won't be able to get like free damage off of you again, because you're not just going to give them a free heat engager. Alright, so let's turn heat back on. Alright, so yeah. So this is just the same situation again, but basically this is obviously an armored attack that Lars has. So this is going to interrupt your offense pretty freely. Like you're not going to be able to just mindlessly press into Lars. And they're going to steal your turn and then put you in a mix. The same situation as the one where if he goes for the low, you get counted launch for doing a power crush. So you have to guess in this scenario. But yeah, it's just scary, but it's got to be done. Like, I guess you could maybe... Let me see. Yeah, you can't even like hop kick here. It's pretty toxic. Yeah, no evasive moves you can really do either. Yeah, you just have to hold it, to be honest. So when Lars is in heat, I mean, you know what? Just take the low, hold back. If you have the read or you can react to the low, in some cases people can, you know, then, you know, make the necessary read in the moment. But yeah, easier said than done, of course. All right, so now we have running 1, which this move, as you can see, is an absolute scam because there's going to be times in neutral where you like kind of accidentally duck it. And then your fastest response is going to be to like jab or like, you know, press like a 2 jab or something. So you really want to be careful with this move. Sometimes even give it to them for free. If you have the reactions, you can maybe try and sidewalk the options afterwards just to keep things safe. But then obviously, you know, you always have the heat burst available as well if it whiffs. You know, he won't have time to go for the low and counter hit launch you. So there are some like kind of get off me stuff here if that does happen. But yeah, just be really careful with like just pressing like jabs afterwards because you don't want to die. So yeah, running 1 is a very toxic button. You basically, you can't step it. You're not stepping this move. Like this is Lars' like free way in. So yeah. But if you block it, again, the same rules apply. Power crush is an option, but you will get counter hit launched by the low. So you got to be careful. This time you can hop kick, so that 1 frame difference does matter. between this and like Den 3 and the charge attack. So you can do an airborne attack to just reduce the damage and also beat the low. But you want to be careful about... So you want to be careful about... 1 second. You want to be careful about the... 1 second. Silent entry 1. You want to be careful about that move. So here, I think if you hop kick... I mean, if he's in heat, then it'll be a scary situation, but... Let me see. So... 26 damage. I'm just wondering if you get float damage. Okay, no, so you just get counter hit by this move. So yeah, I mean, you can still step this. You know, it isn't the end of the world. Obviously, you want to make sure your timing on the step is perfect. And then potentially get your launch. You can also parry, depending on the character that you're playing. So obviously keep that in mind. And if you parry, you're not going to get... counter hit by like the low. But you're going to get launched by the free. But they don't really tend to use it. If they use it, you know, you get your punish. So yeah, that's how that will go. Alright, so back to 1. So this back 2 move, like they can kind of just hold that shit forever. Like super delayable. So you're gonna see that back 2 and then you might think, oh, let me press, and then you're gonna get counter hit launched. So you really want to be careful about that. Yeah, you don't want to press into this. You want to wait for your 10 frame and just take it. Like, literally let them have back 2 for free most of the time. Because, yeah, the risk of pressing into this is just not worth it, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, you can Sabaki as well if they delay it. If they don't delay it, you're going to die. So, yeah, it's a pretty interesting scenario. I do wonder if it jails if they don't delay it. Let me see. I feel like it does. I feel like if you Sabaki here, you're not going to get counter hit launched. Yeah. So if they don't delay it, you can kind of mash Sabaki anyway, or parry, because it jails, so you'll still get your punish. I wonder about minimum delay. Let's see. Okay, so minimal delay you can't, but you can parry though. But yeah, punch Sabaki will get you counter hit launched. So yeah, parrying is not gonna make you eat the counter hit. So you know, let him have his +4, I guess. It's not really the end of the world. And then the only other move you want to worry about in neutral is Lars' back 4. Because if you let him get that for free too many times, you're eating a lot of damage. But yeah, I don't think I need to show that move too tough. It's kind of like this, a similar situation to this, you know. Same kind of hitbox, I feel like. So you can kind of imagine what the scenario is. He's -9 after it as well, so it's kind of whatever. But yeah. Let's get on to these options here, and let's go through them one by one. So what I've set up here is sidewalk. So hold on, let me change it to on hit for a second. So alright, so sidewalk, Lars' sidestep isn't the best. You can obviously think about that while you're labbing. So you'll be able to take advantage of a few more things that you can't against most other characters. But it's like very tiny things in it. So there's almost no difference, but there is a slight difference in it. So when you're labbing, just bear that in mind, that Lars' sidestep isn't as good as other characters. So one example would be, just quickly, if you do up forward 2-1, the chances of Lars sidestepping this is lower than practically any other character. For some reason, I don't know why. But Lars really struggles to step this. So you can kind of do this with like a free mind. So, alright, so let's... Okay, so here, what I want to showcase is that, like, when you're trying to get your plus frames going with Leo, it can be a bit awkward. Because you're using these slow buttons, like down 2. Obviously, down 1 is like a saving grace, but people don't really like down 1 is not as favored in this game. So people will latch onto a move like down 2 or back 1+4. And then obviously giving away your turn with a down forward 3 is another one, you know, because it's frame trap. So let me just quickly add another option. So the next option is... Right, so the next option is backdash. So doing a down forward 1 into a down forward 1. If this game wants to function. That's not working. I think I say it wrong. Hold on. Okay, that's the G cliff. Alright. Alright, let me just try and sharpen this up. That should be good to go. Right. So obviously if I get the down forward 1 out perfectly, it's going to whiff punish this. So I need to do it slightly faster. Ah, my days. I swear recording with this feature here is just so odd. Alright, let's see. Hopefully this is fast enough. This is so hard to set up, man. It's so hard to set up, but it's important to see this. It's really important to see this. Who would have thought doing a backdash arc blast would be so difficult? Maybe I gotta respect Lars players a bit more. It's still not set up right. This feels like round start. That's what this feels like. It feels like you're trying to do something at round start. So timing it is just so off. I just don't understand. If this don't work, then I don't know. Genuinely. Alright, well, anyways. The idea of this is that, like, Lars' backdash. You know what? Let me just spam back. And forget about the whiff punish. I'm just gonna... This is just so you understand. Because I don't understand that timing is so weird. You can't time it, apparently. I don't understand. You know what? Let's just do it on block. Let's just do it on block. Okay, so the Arc Blast is too fast here. This is mad annoying because I need to showcase, you know, the issues that I'm having fighting Lars, but I can't even set it up in P mode. Annoying, man, annoying. Forget about it. Alright, so anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that Lars can backdash out of a lot of things when you're kind of poking him. So you have to factor that in. And that kind of makes life really difficult. So a situation that I kind of found out was that, you know what? Watch this. Alright. So you see this situation here. This is another situation. So down forward 2+3 into up forward 1. This is kind of like your way of like keeping momentum and not giving away your turn. If you go for a while standing 3, it becomes a bit of a weird mind game. So I don't think you can kind of rely on it as much as you can up forward 1 against most characters. But against Lars, this is where you have to worry about his backdash, because obviously you can get Arc Blasted. But obviously, if you go for while standing 3, you know you're safe. So in this particular matchup, you're not going to want to opt for up forward 1 as much as you would in other matchups. So kind of just taking your while standing 3 and then playing off of that situation is very important, to say the least. Very, very important. Down forward 1 pressure. I need to do this on hit just to see that I'm not bugging. Okay. Okay, so it's not me. So trying to do 2 down forward 1s in a row against Lars, I think you can see the danger. So what you have to do now is kind of find buttons that reach Lars in your plus frames, or don't press at all. Because you don't want to get randomly launched by Arc Blast. That is not the goal at hand. You know, sometimes you might even want to just dash in and then block and then see what they do. Because they might even throw out Rago Arc Blast and then you get your punish and then, you know, you get your reward for your patience. But there's going to be a lot of times where you want to press. So obviously if you're trying to chase down Lars, down forward 4 is a good button. Because what you're going to do after down forward 4 is backdash and then see what they do. And obviously at this range it's a bit scary because Lars kind of zaps in very easily. You know, he doesn't struggle to play at any range, really. So it can be scary, but just being patient. You know, the Lars player is going to want to chip at your legs a lot. So it becomes a bit about, you know, kind of guessing in neutral, but then also moving around his options where you can. So like his down back 1, His forward 1+2. You know, these types of moves you're going to want to be stepping whenever you can. So how you're going to approach Lars is, and just have this in mind all the time, is you don't want to throw out high jab strings for the purpose that down back 4 is just a crime. It's just an insane move. They sped it up. It's harder to block now. And if you throw out a jab string, you're probably going to get counter hit launched. So let me just put that option on now. So I think that's this one. Okay, no, not yet. Okay, so one of these is down back 4. Right, down back 4. So if you're trying to, like, I don't know, play like the high jab offense type of game, you're going to run into many issues with down back 4. So kind of figuring out how to get around this move, that's going to be a very important part of your game. But then obviously this is not something you can rely on, because the game is always changing in Tekken 8. So like, you're going to try and like just sidestep here. Like, you can side walk apparently. I'm not sure how reliable that is, but yeah, you can side walk, but if you try sidestep, this move is going to like clip you. So it's not as easy as just side walking the down back 4. And then on top of that, he does have homings with like back 1 and stuff like that. And then obviously he has the G clef as well. So the G clef is, I believe, this one. Right. So yeah, how you move versus Lars, I think as well, is dependent on what button you press as Leo. So let's just quickly see this in action. So let me put down back 2-1. Sorry, down for 2-1 again. No. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you see, I'm trying to sidewalk now, and I can't sidewalk. So the importance of just using a single jab rather than a jab string is like, it's so important, because you get them to block it, and now you can sidewalk. You get them to block down forward 1, and then it becomes a bit weird. Like, you try to do 2 down forward 1s in a row, you have the risk of getting sidestep, the risk of getting backdash arc blast. So, you know, I've kind of shown you like the risk of doing 2 down forward 1s. So you kind of have to play this weird style where you're just playing in order to get him to block something, just so that you don't die. It's very exhausting, to say the least, because the options you're going to run into, like the reason I put sidewalk on as well as one of the options is because the Lars player doesn't risk too much sidewalking, like realistically. So like, what's going to happen is you're going to hit them with a jab or something. They're just going to sidewalk to your back. So let's try sidewalk to the other direction, because fighting Leo, this is something that you don't really have to worry too much about. So yeah, sidewalk. Sidewalk right. Okay, so you're able to pin him down, but like, you have to know what options you can use, and you don't want to get too comfortable or complacent. You have to know what it is you're doing after you know, manage to land a jab, because they will take the liberty of sidewalking for sure. Okay, so yeah, we have a lot of options that will hit him after a single jab, but look, just literally, there you go. That 1 frame difference again just opens you up to just dying. So like, down forward 1, a great button by itself, but it clearly doesn't give you the best scenarios possible. So like, let's go back to blocking now. So down forward 1, down forward 2, Lars is able to sidewalk very easily. Down 4, down forward 2, easily able to sidewalk again. But like, if I do a jab, now it tracks. So like, things like this are so important. And then it becomes you know, it becomes a bit about playing around things like, so not that, things like his G-Clef. So his G-Clef now joins the party. And obviously that's kind of difficult to deal with. And then you go for a down forward 2+3. Which can obviously lose to movement. So like you can't rely on a single jab gameplay to get you everything sorted in this match. So there's going to be a lot of times where you do a single jab and then you just do nothing. Because like I wouldn't say that Leo's buttons are really that favored. And the fact that Lars has a G-Clef is obviously big in itself because it's counter hit confirmable. I mean, single hit down back 4 can be good. But like I feel like because of the amount of moving that someone's going to do against Leo, it's a little bit odd, innit? Like, because there's going to be times where, so like, let me just do sidestep right here. So, sidewalk right. Okay, so I've shown you sidestep left. Sidestep right. And this is what I meant earlier about Lars's his step game. His step game is not the best, but if he blocks down forward 2, he gets a great punish. So that's kind of how this balances out in a way. So the Lars player is not gonna want to step too much because of the down forward 2s. You kind of have to use the down forward 2s if you have a read that they're gonna step, or you use the down forward 3 but you give away a turn, which makes things a bit weird. But like he's gonna punish you heavily for your down forward 2, so you can't really throw them out too much, and that's why moves like down forward 4 exist. But that move's steppable. So yeah, there's just no real like way of pinning the character down. Down 4 is great, but then being 0 or neutral against Lars is a bit of a weird scenario to be in as well. Because the G-Clef is always present, the down back 4 is always present. You know, and obviously we have that as well. So I don't know, it becomes a really weird neutral against Lars. Because like, I don't feel like Bok is too great in the matchup. And obviously Lars players are going to use, so hold on a sec. Lars players will be using down back 2-1, obviously, because they don't want you to just go into Bok and scam. And obviously this will catch Tempo as well. So I think the big difference between single jab and down forward 1 is just the distance that it leaves you to the opponent. So down forward 1, it creates like some kind of tiny gap for some reason. Like you don't visibly see it, but there's like a tiny gap difference. So like down forward 1, I do Kempo, is down back 2-1 kind of whiffs. Jab into Kempo, it doesn't whiff at all. So yeah, this is a move that you're gonna have to get around in neutral, because Kempo is not gonna help you out here, and you don't want to randomly eat forward 1+2s as well. Because what's gonna happen is the Lars player is just gonna run up to you and then start mixing you with like full crouch down 1+2 and stuff like that. So you see how down forward 1 kind of gets you into like a defensive zone because of the spacing. So just doing a backdash into a Kempo here works wonders, and you're gonna get a full punish, full reward. But if you do a single jab, okay, even if you do a single jab, you can beat it, but it's a bit more difficult. Like you have to be a bit sharper with it. But yeah, because of that bit of distance with down forward 1, it's a lot easier to set up. Which is, honestly, I think that's good to know. But yeah, going right against this move is obviously what you want to do. But you will get clipped by, you'll get clipped by down forward 2, depending on what you use here. So yeah, I mean, you can mash sometimes. You know, you do have a magic 4. Sidewalk left is alright as well, I guess. But yeah, that forward 1+2 is gonna clip you, and I haven't even put on his down forward 1. Let me add his down forward 1 quickly. Alright, so I'll just do that for now. Obviously, he has other options from it, but it makes sense. Right, so down forward 1 tracking to sidestep right and sidestep left. About after a jab? Okay, so after a jab, this is insane. Yeah, so after a jab, as you can see, like, your potential for movement is just a lot better and more reliable. So I guess in this matchup, you can kind of weigh up like what they can really do to you when you go for a single jab. Jab strings are kind of off the charts. Like, I don't think it's wise to go for jab strings. Down forward one should just be a down forward one for the most part. I don't think you should use the down forward one to like create any kind of like strong mind game, really. Like, you have the follow up, cool, which is great. But if the last player is just patient and like, I don't know, they don't die for this, innit? It's not like Dragunov where he gets a counter hit launcher. If we got a counter hit launcher here, then I think, yeah, it would make sense. But this is not enough to deter a Lars player from, like, you know, it's not going to stop them from mashing. So, yeah, you got to be careful. You got to rely on your long range mids a decent amount. I just want to add one option quickly. So, I'm not going to do it on this. But I will show you the type of situations you're probably going to run into when you're fighting Lars, which can be very annoying. So, okay, so, nice. So you're going to block this move, and then there's going to be a lot of distance between you and Lars. And it's like, you don't have a button here that kind of does anything for you. So your only option realistically is to just kind of dash in and just not do anything. So yeah, like I said, neutral against Lars is very weird. His backdash, his hurt box is very strong, and you're going to notice it a lot in the matchup. So it's up to you when you land a button, whether it's a down forward one, single jab, to just see what you can do. Like, maybe even a side step 1+2 sometimes if you draw a blank, because it does happen where you kind of don't know what to use next. But you have to be very cautious about his backdash, because it's not going to be normal. Like, your offense isn't going to flow as normally as it would against most other characters. So yeah, long reaching moves are going to be your best friend when trying to fight Lars. You know, whether that's just throwing out back 1+2 sometimes. Sometimes you just have to do it. Sometimes you just have to do it. But, you know, don't rely on cheese. Don't rely on, like, going into stance and things like that. Don't rely on, like, immediately pressing as well. I think your timing has to be... There has to be a timing difference. You know? You can't just, like, okay, let me do a down forward one and then back three. Like, fair enough, they have to respect me after the down forward one, but, like, they're just going to backdash. Like, that's the way you should see it. It's like, they're just going to backdash. So, it's not going to scare them. QCF1, obviously a great low. I think this low is, like, super necessary in this matchup. I wouldn't even bother too much with, like, down forward 2+3s and things like that. The thing is... The thing that's kind of messed up with Lars, I feel like high level Lars players, they're going to input a backdash, and if you do a slow low, there's nothing deterring them from ducking. So let me try and give... I'm going to make this like my last example. But, let's see, so... Let me just put backdash. Alright, so... Okay, so you see this whiff here. This whiff here is kind of criminal. And this whiff here is kind of criminal as well. So, what is stopping them from doing a backdash and then ducking? Do you know what I mean? Like, fair enough, you have a FF2, but it's steppable. Like, FF2 is not going to be enough to stop someone backdash and then ducking. And then on that chance that they do backdash, and let's say maybe even they do a backdash and then low parry, and then stand back up, like these little fuzzies and stuff, it's a lot easier for Lars to make these decisions, because they know that your mids are just not going to reach. And then you feel like, oh, I need long reaching mids. You go for this, -14, and you get launched. Now, fair enough, this is a 50-50 situation, because I can obviously finish it and get a counter hit launch. But Lars has that privilege of being able to launch -14. So it's very tricky, you know, to know what buttons you want to be pressing against this character. Like, just to make something stick. And that's the issue that I have. I feel like nothing really sticks. It's like, it's such a chaotic battle. It feels like a clash of forces. It's just like I could luckily win, I could luckily lose. You know? So, I don't know. Listen, this is just my gripes with the matchup. I've yapped a lot. I'm kind of just trying to go through it with you guys, like as I'm doing it, so it's not as put together as it probably could have been. But I think the fact that they sped up down back 4 really makes life very difficult against Lars. But yeah, man, like it's so tricky. It's super tricky. Like backdash and then duck with Lars versus Leo is just. It's a no-brainer. Like, you're going to go for forward fours. Fair enough. Punishable. They can punish it. Minus 13. So you kind of have to play a riskier neutral if you want to get most things going. Like, QCF 2-1 is amazing, obviously. But again, when are you going to go for it? And are they going to sidewalk it? And this, that, and the other. You know, a lot of grey areas. A lot of what-if scenarios. But yeah, I'm not going to downplay this string. This string is obviously amazing. If you want to contest neutral, you're going to have to use it. But again, Lars backdash will still make it difficult to kind of just utilize this move all the time. So where other characters would block this, Lars doesn't have to do that. So like, yeah, just something as small as doing down forward 1 into down forward 2. Usually characters can't backdash this. So like, you're doing this with the intention of, oh, if they block it, cool, I get punished, whatever. But they're backdashing it and launching you. You know, that is a big privilege. That is a big privilege because on top of that, you know, man can sidewalk as well. But this is why a single jab is so important because they can't backdash it after a single jab. So just that one difference, like you can't rely on a high to do everything for you. You can't just always dash in and do a single jab. That's not how Tekken works. You know, because you are going to run into some kind of counter hit button. Or like just get randomly duck launched. So you have to be careful with that. And I think that's why just kind of overusing mids against Lars that have long range is just, you have to. You fully just have to. And then you have to earn your opportunities, do single jab. And then when you get that opportunity to single jab, you have to just run with it. You have to run with it. There has to be a strong mind game behind what you're doing. So whether that's like single jab, sidestep 1+2, obviously you have to be careful about down back 4 in that scenario. So yeah, let me just add down back 4 lastly. I think that's this one. Okay, no, it is this one. Right, so down back 4, like you can't just sidestep 1+. The difference between down forward 1 and single jab, the more you know. The more you know. Holy. You can't even sidewalk this after a down forward 1. Oh my god. You know what? On the 4th of December 2025, I was awoken. This is why we lab. This is why we lab. This is it. This is it. Crazy. Crazy. So if you do an immediate sidestep 1+2, you're actually way more evasive for some reason. If you delay it, you get counter hit launched. Let me see if that works for this as well. Nope. Insane. Insane. Sidestep 1+2 is broken. I'm gonna be the one to say it. Sidestep 1+2 is broken. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make here is that like, you do a single jab, and I wonder if you can backdash down forward 1. He can't. Yeah, single jab. Single jab takes the cake. I'm not... Listen, I'm barely using down forward 1 against Lars in the future. I'm just using down forward 4. I'm just... Listen, I don't care if it's -6. I don't care if it creates this spacing. I'm using down forward 4. It's down forward 4 or single jab. Down 4 kind of creates a bit of a grey area against Lars as well. So, yeah. I'm not going to lie. Down forward 4, single jab. Write it down. Write it down. Anyways... This has been the video. Hopefully this gives you a bit more of an insight on how to fight Lars and like how to survive against this character just in the neutral, because it's very scary. And like if you get overzealous with your like options like down 2, back 1+4 and things like that, there is the risk of the Lars player just being like, you know what, he's not going to use down forward 2 to track me. I'm just going to sidewalk, and then you get launched. So yeah, but yeah, hopefully you gain some new ideas and some you have some more ideas of what's good against Lars and what isn't. Down forward 1 being absolutely atrocious against Lars. But if you want to run that down forward 1-2 mind game, you obviously can as well. But yeah, man. I should have done this a long time ago. This is what I'm realizing. I should have done this a very, very long time ago. But yeah. I've been Richie. If you like the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see me do this with another character, please let me know in the comments which character you'd like to see. And I'll be out of here. So take it easy, everyone.